Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to race number 9 of the Dark Horse IndyCar Series at Worldwide Technology Raceway. 120 laps or 150 miles of short track IndyCar racing. I'm Michael Norman, joined by Matthew Rodriguez in the booth tonight. Matt, we are ready for some short track under the lights action. Tell us what we have in store.
Well, we definitely have a little bit of interesting track here in store. Obviously, if looking at Worldwide Technology Raceway, there's a little bit of interesting characteristic here. 1 and 2 are completely, uh, my apologies. 1 and 2 are a bit of a lift on entry and on exit. 3 and 4 are flat out, but you could easily cut 3 and 4 just a little bit and accidentally turn yourself out of 4. So that's definitely going to be a danger zone tonight.
Our points leader right now, Robert Malechka, has a 90-point lead over Matt Wagner and is looking to pull away. He's been the fastest car in practice, and he's been the most dominant driver so far of the season. What do you think is going through his mind coming into tonight's race?
Honestly, he's going to be looking for at least a little bit of points and damage control here. I mean, obviously, he's very strong at these type of flat tracks. So he's going to be looking at least to gain on his lead. But obviously, if tonight doesn't work out in his favor, he's looking just to pad his lead or at least protect it.
Absolutely. This track, in a way, is similar to some of the other racetracks. It's a bit of an egg-shaped racetrack with 2 different degrees of banking in the turns. Turns 1 and 2 banked a little bit more than 3 and 4. And so that's going to prove a little difficult for the setup in these cars, too, as I believe turns 1 and 2 are going to be a bit more of the trouble spots, but 3 and 4 definitely are going to have their moments tonight.
Yeah, 1 and 2 is going to be very difficult, at least on entry, since it kind of looks a bit deceiving. It looks like you can kind of full throttle that there, but unfortunately you just can't. Now 3 and 4 is where you can really full throttle, and that's going to be really the big danger zone because you're looking to try and dig as much as you can, but those red and white almost curbs in a way, they're very deceiving, very slick. Obviously, if you kind of drive on those, there's a little concrete patch in the middle of 3 and 4. Get your tires on there, you'll lose all grip, and you'll wreck it out of 4.
Now, one thing to keep an eye on tonight for sure was made clear in the drivers' meeting for these drivers. That little concrete patch there, some can use that to get on the pit road, but it was made clear in the drivers' meeting that all pit stops will start under green and under caution. They will start from the turn 3 access road all the way around. So that's going to prove a bit of a challenge, especially for green flag pit stops, as the IndyCars, while they have decent brakes on these machines, you still lock them up. You enter the wrong way and you can go for a spin and back up onto the racetrack.
I mean, we're talking about the entry of pit road. I mean, just think about the exit of pit road. Earlier in testing, we found that, as Nick DeGroot crashes in qualifying there. But as we were testing out in practice, pit exit is a little bit treacherous as well. It's a tad bit slick, so you really can't put full power down on exit. So it's going to be kind of a dangerous game seeing how fast some of these guys are going to try to get off of pit road on green flag pit stops.
Absolutely. And speaking of pit stops here, you made a point before we went live that these cars can go about 32 to 35 laps distance on a fuel run. So with 120 laps here, you're looking at what, roughly 3 pit stops? I would assume 3-4 pit stops if this race goes green from start to finish.
I'd say roughly, but you got to think here. I mean, cautions are going to factor into this strategy. Also, tires are going to factor into this strategy. Like I said, these cars can get on and off a pit road. I mean, I'm going to say probably about 30 seconds in a lane, but a stop time anywhere from 6 to 8 seconds. So you've really got to kind of play your cards right and see if you can maybe skip tires one round or so on and so forth.
Now, do you think that'd be a good strategy, though? With old tires versus new tires would be probably a little free to start with, until they get up to temperature. But I guess it really just depends on how fast these tires wear out.
I feel it's the same way as Twin Ring Motegi in a way where, honestly, tire wear didn't matter very much as long as you had track position. Now, granted, if you start abusing these tires very heavily, that's going to cause some issues later on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's no surprise here, but our point leader has gone to the top of the board for qualifying. And I think he even ran another lap just for just for giggles there. A 24.355 for Robert to second place right now. Charles Teed at a 24.404. So that's about 0.05 of a second faster in terms of qualifying speed.
And I know we've touched on it multiple times throughout the beginning, or at least the last few races of this season, but definitely the contrast between the season Nick DeGroot had last season versus the season he's having currently. That is the big question here, which is do you really think Nick DeGroot can bounce back and be a threat to defend this championship, or is he going to be kind of in the background here?
You know, it's they call it the championship curse, or what's it called? I remember they're calling it something for the second season. You win the championship your first season. The second season, you have not as good of a season as you had before.
I think it's championship hangover, but you also have to remember last season Nick DeGroot only had a few less races to deal with this and trying to make a move. So I don't know if that could be affecting it, but definitely it comes into at least a little bit of a thought there.
Yeah, and I feel like if he can start focusing a little bit more and just not worry about other drivers, run his own race, and just kind of stay in his own head, I feel like he could bounce back and maybe have a shot at this. Like, you know, you always find your competition out there somewhere. You can't, and right now with Robert being out there, I feel like that's just DeGroot's main competition here. So that could push Nick DeGroot and strive him to want to be better, want to do better, try to finish better, and learn. And I think that's what's going to be good for Nick, especially if he can start making his comeback.
Yeah, I mean, we've said it multiple times again, where it's really just about mindset and momentum. If you don't have both of those on your side, I mean, that's really going to affect you for later on in the season.
Absolutely. We're roughly under 3 minutes left in this qualifying session. Only 4 drivers have not taken any time yet. I'm not sure if they will, as I know some drivers love to play it safe and start in the back. Now, Matt, you've run a couple of laps here with the setup that these drivers are using tonight. Give us your thoughts and opinion on it.
Honestly, I'm going to say it's a fairly stable set. I know it is provided by Lionheart Racing, or Lionheart IndyCar Series, but, I mean, as I was driving, it feels pretty planted. 1 and 2, again, is going to be the main danger zones. Obviously, you can overdrive 1. 1 looks very deceptive here. But as long as you can at least have a good entry into 1, let it roll maybe halfway, power out of 2, run down the back straightaway, get yourself a good arc into 3, and try to avoid that red rumble strips down there. I mean, you could be on set for probably about a 24.5, 24.3 second lap here. Actually, our leader Robert, he said a 24.355 for his pole run.
And that's actually a little slower than his practice time too. He ran a 24.312 in practice. So he didn't fall off too much, but at the same time, you know, he was definitely pushing this. If you guys have seen from multiple drivers here that when they push through turns 1 and 2 here, it is a very sharp corner coming off corner exit there, and they come right close, maybe a penny, like a penny width of air, if that makes sense, between the tire and the wall without actually hitting it.
Honestly, as I was doing some practice laps of this setup, I'm going to tell you, this track feels like a bravery test. It's every lap, it's honestly asking you, how far are you willing to push this? How close are you willing to cut this to just gain a few extra tenths? So that's going to be the big question for tonight is, you know, obviously 120 laps, it's a long race. I mean, mistakes happen, brain fade sets in. I mean, do you think we're going to see any cases of that tonight?
Well, yeah, we're going to especially late in the race. You know, if these drivers are close enough to make a move for passing, they're definitely going to try to see how brave they can really be. And while it may work out, it might not. So that's just something that they're going to have to deal with and wander through the whole race if they're going to be able to make that move. Now, my thing is with Circuit of the Americas last week being the road course and everything with a lot of tight turns there, we didn't see much of cautions because we all know how cautions work in terms with a road course with them not really being full course yellows unless something terrible happened. With us being at an oval here, cautions should be back to normal, and if we get an incident that's on the racing surface, should bring out a caution tonight. You think these guys being at an oval race just a little less aggressive than they would say at like a road course?
I'm not sure. I mean, we saw last week a Coda just gets a little bit dicey there. I'm kind of curious on how some of these drivers are really going to be acting once we get kind of going here. I mean, last week, road course, a lot of these guys are kind of in survival mode of, hey, I just got to make it through this race. I just have to make it back to my ovals. And other guys like Maleska, he was enjoying himself. Honestly, I think if all the races were road courses, he would have a blast. But that's the big question of seeing how some of these guys do that transition back over.
Yeah, absolutely. And the car is gridding onto the racetrack right now. We are getting set for 120 laps of racing tonight. Under the lights, I'm not sure what the temperature of the track is right now. It might be pretty slick, but the hotter the racetrack, the slicker it is, and that could mean for a little bit more exciting racing for these cars going through these corners.
So I've got to ask you, Michael. I mean, any people, but you're looking throughout this field and saying, "Hey, this is my dark horse pick to possibly win this race."
Honestly, my dark horse pick to win this race, we talked about him already. I'm going to pick Nick DeGroot. He's starting back here in the 12th position. Not a good qualifying run. He actually wrecked in his qualifying run, and I believe it was his second lap. So his first lap was good enough to put him 12th on the grid. I feel like he can kind of get back in his head, calm down a little bit, and run a good strategy and be up there around the end. What about you, Matthew?
Honestly, it may sound a little bit crazy, but I'm looking at Craig's Forsyth here. Forsyth hasn't had a very good last few races, and I'm going to tell you at least his last few finishes haven't really shown how much effort and how much time he's put in, and I think maybe Gateway could be his way to kind of break through here.
Absolutely. As these cars roll off the grid here, going through the treacherous turns here, this track almost reminds you of Darlington in a way. Just back when Darlington used to have its old configuration where the tight turns 3 and 4 used to be turns 1 and 2 here, with a little bit less banking here. I'm honestly surprised that these cars can run as wide open as they can in 3 and 4, but down the back straight away they go. These drivers are getting their last minute preparations. We're getting set for 120 laps of racing under the lights here at Worldwide Technology Raceway.
Well, I said I say it's going to be a battle of attrition tonight. It's going to be who's willing to save their stuff and then who's going to be in the right place at the right time, and also who can avoid calamity tonight.
Absolutely. Looking at your top 5 starters here, you got Robert Malechka the third in first, Charles Teed second, Eric Peterson third, you got Gary Corley in fourth, and Covey Moore in fifth as the pace car ducks in on the front straightaway. These Indy cars are set to put on a show for the fans. Green flag is out. We're underway under the lights at Worldwide Technology.
And definitely a great start by Robert there. Gets himself out to a nice, powerful lead.
Absolutely. He's out to, I want to say, roughly about about 2/10 roughly, 1 to 2/10 already going through, but it looks like to be...
Looking back a little bit, that's someone that we haven't really talked about in the last few races, has to be Charles Teed here. Teed actually won a race earlier this season, but at least after that, he's been a little bit quiet. He's been lurking around the top 10 the final few races.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been lurking around the top 10. He's been trying to keep his nose clean and stay up there. Eric Peterson in third. Right now, it looks to be maybe his teammate, same paint scheme running second and third right now as they try to keep the action going. Continue, go ahead.
Looking back through the field, I do want to give a little bit of a shout out to some of these guys in the back. I mean, Matt Wagner did not get a good qualifying position. He's starting to work his way up here in 14th. He's looked like he's currently working his way through Josh Gardner. But you got to think, hey, if you're battling for points, as you see Nick DeGroot go for an aggressive pass.
Yeah, absolutely. So I told you, he's got to get back. It's really hard to pass here. Got to keep your car steady. Outside lane, you push your car up, you can get a good run off the corner. So passing on the inside here, while it does seem like the good thing to do, it's not always the best thing because being on the inside can wear your tires out pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a big question because as we look here, we definitely saw that, I mean, as almost all of us know, that the bottom line definitely is the preferred line here. But right now, it looks like the 18 of Jeff DeSong really, or Jeff DeSong, definitely able to hold it on the outside line. Is that giving at least any indications of how much grip that outside lane is going to have?
Yeah, it is. With him being able to hold it on the outside lane there, it shows you that the outside lane may come into play whether now or later, depending on how much these tires wear out, because he was able to hold it for a couple of laps before finally giving it to Nick DeGroot, who has now moved up to the 8th position, while our leader is pulling away to about, it looks to be almost a 0.4 of a second lead over second place right now. Everything's still good. These cars are somewhat stretched out, but they're giving each other lots of room and not making any daring moves too early.
And we saw there Charles T tried to press the attack on Milecka. So that's going to be a big question. You know, we saw him back off a little bit there. Do you think he's going to try and right behind him right now, trying to save fuel, try to save tires, or is he really kind of want to lead the way here? I mean, we saw back at Twin Room Motegi how vital track position was, even with old tires.
Absolutely. He might be trying to see what his car can do at first. You know, I know that some like to test and see what their cars can do. Like if, you know, when they try to make a run on somebody, they may not pass them, but they at least get a good idea of how the car will handle when they get that close, up to somebody's bumper.
And just looking back through the field here. Oh, go ahead.
We have one person who's already a lap down. That is Jimmy Darnan. I believe that's the 94 car.
Drynan.
Drynan. Okay, I apologize for that. I'm not sure if he started on pit road or if he had to make a pit stop or something in that 94 machine, but he one lap down already. I'm not sure if Dark Horse does those dog passes or not.
I'm looking back through here and I'm seeing a few interesting names, at least back in the pack. Victor Santos, he's been really on a tear these last few races. And just seeing him back in 14th is a little bit eye-opening.
Spin in the corner. That's Craig Forsyth.
Oh, I mean, that may be a little bit of commentator's curse right there.
Oh yeah, I just saw him going to turn 1. I think he carried a little too much speed because when he went into the corner, it looped around on him, or maybe I think it was a little bit of net code. He might have had a little help there from, I believe, Joe McAdory here in the four car. It looked to be a little bit of contact, maybe some possible net coding.
I say he slid up the track just a little bit. I mean, obviously, internet connection didn't help, but contact almost looked a little bit unavoidable there. I mean, let's go ahead and take a look back. At least on Forsyth's car here.
Yeah, he hit the wall a ton there. His all 4 tires stayed on it, so he might be all right for the most part to at least be able to stay out there and log some laps.
But that shows you how treacherous it is to really pass with these cars at this track. I mean, it just shows you the difficulty that some of these drivers are going to have tonight.
Yeah, and it's really going to come into play. So while we have our first caution here, you want to go ahead and bring down our point leader and current leader of the race and talk to him for a bit?
Feel free.
All right, let's see if we can get Robert in here. Hey, Robert, it's Michael and Matthew up here in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you, boys.
All right, you just had your first run, a 10-lap run under green flag there. How's the car handling?
Pretty good. Yeah, it feels fine. It's kind of stopped being a chicken on exit 2. Still playing it pretty safe there.
Got any questions there, Matt?
I'm looking here. We saw that T was kind of pushing the attack. Or is it almost a better idea to kind of hang behind you and just save tires? Or do you think he's really going to want to push the attack and get around you?
I think clean air is pretty big here, so I think he should pass me if he can. But as long as I'm running high in 1 and 2, it's going to be hard for him to get around me, unless, strategy.
I do have one last question, which would be on the entry of 3 and 4. I mean, we've kind of made it a point to show kind of how treacherous it is to really dig in that corner, trying to hit the rumble strips and getting as much time as possible. Have you? It sounds like you may have found a little bit of those issues.
Yeah. So that's why if you notice, I'm going wider entering 3, is so I can hit, I guess, almost like a later apex and just keep the tires in it. You know, don't wear the tires as much, and just kind of hold the speed so I don't have to run that tight bottom line.
All right, man. It looks like you're having fun out there, at least for the first 10 laps or so. We saw the outside lane kind of coming into play a little bit there for a pass further on in the back of the pack. Do you feel like the outside lanes, at least in turns 3 and 4, will come into play at some point during this race?
Yeah, 100%. I think if you have a car in front of you and you go low, I think the guy behind you can get a really good run off of 4 and get you down straight. I think that's what Alex is doing right now. He's up 12 spots.
All right, man. Well, good luck, and maybe we'll talk to you again here later on the broadcast.
Yep. Thanks, boys.
All right, that was our current race leader, Robert. Sorry, drawing a blank for a second.
No worries. As we look throughout the field here, there's a lot of interesting names that, I mean, I think I've brought this up a few times, but I mean, just seeing second place in points, Matt Wagner back here in 11th. Like I said, he did not get that great of a starting position here today, so definitely he's on recovery mode. How much disadvantage does that put you at? I mean, here's the thing: you're trying to chase down a leader in points. You're trying to make as much ground as possible. He has been putting ground on Matt here the last 2 races. I mean, how hard is it to dig yourself out of that hole when you have a bad qualifying?
Oh, it's very difficult. You know, it was not his intention to start at the back of the pack here, but that's just more cars that you have to pass and get to even catch the race leader. And you just got to hope that the strategy and cautions fall your way so you can easily pick them off. But right now for Matt Wagner back there, he is currently in 11th position, so he's gained roughly half the spots that he needs. Now he just has to get up there and gain the rest of them. So we're getting ready to come back.
Well, you have to think also.
Go ahead.
Oh, but you have to think also, I mean, the amount of laps that Robert's leading right now, I mean, obviously he wants to try and limit that as much as possible.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So he's 10 laps into this run before the caution came out. He made it up to 11th position. Green flag's back out. We're back underway. Robert gets a great restart here. And, yeah, Matt's just going to have to start picking him off as quickly as he can. Oh, and a caution is out again. Oh, a massive
back here, big pileup.
Ooh.
Big pileup on the front straightaway.
Craig Forsyth in it again. There's a couple of cars up into the wall here. Paul Jennings up here. Jeffrey Duncan up into the wall. These drivers are going to have to be very careful when they come back around the corners. They are still in the middle of the racetrack here. Nicholas Wonik is in it. Michael Spell is in it as well. And Jeremy...
Actually, looking at that replay, it looks like someone either blew an engine or failed to get going. Let me take another look back at that, but it almost looks like someone just blew an engine.
Oh, yeah, that was a major wreck up in the front here.
Not sure who that was.
Oh, it might have been a checkup also. May have just been a checkup, somebody not going. Oh, yeah, it was
It's 15 of
Covey Moore. Yeah, Covey Moore just...
Oh, no.
He anticipated the start, it looked like, and he about ran into the back of the car in front of him. That would have been Gale Brooks. And he just anticipated the start, ran into the back of Gale, and just stacked up the whole field.
And you just see a chain reaction behind. Yeah, obviously all cars here have one fast repair, but obviously, again, you want to save that at least till mid-halfway through the race.
Somebody back there, I believe that was Jeffrey Duncan, he was the last person to this wreck, and he just ran into somebody, just not being able to stop in enough time, and that was a whale of a ride for him.
As we look back here from the 15 of Covey, I mean, just see the moment the checkup happens, and unfortunately, there's nothing behind that people can do, and it's just so much checkup at that point. You're just kind of along for the ride.
Absolutely, you're just along for the ride. You know, you can't pass to the inside. That'll get you a penalty. You have to wait till after the start-finish line here, and with a single file restart like that, one stack up, and that's just going to ruin the whole restart for everybody behind you.
I mean, that just shows you how treacherous this track is. Because, I mean, we look back, again, I keep bringing this up, 2 weeks ago, Twin Ring Motegi, we had enormous amounts of room. I mean, obviously, if a wreck happened, you had at least a good 2 or 4 lanes to avoid it. Here at Twin Ring, I mean, the cameras are deceiving, but this track is at least one of the smaller on the circuit.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It's very narrow on the front stretch with the pit wall on the inside there, and you know, like we've said, there's just not many places to go when a wreck like that happens, and unfortunately for one person's mistake, it just takes out a lot of good cars. And with them having to use their fast repair, a lot of the drivers at the back of the pack, you know, that's going to make them want to race a little more cleanly and carefully, because now they're out of fast repairs, and if anything happens, that's going to be their race.
We also got to think about these guys in the front of the field, the top 5. I mean, obviously, hey, you ran 11 laps, you're doing a bit of pacing, then you get ready for another restart, then hey, just smack of another caution, more pacing. You got to think, I mean, is this affecting these guys at all? I mean, just kind of throwing them out of the rhythm where, hey, I mean, I've been pacing around the last 5 minutes. Is that going to throw me off my line? Is that going to throw me off my rhythm any?
It's going to throw them off their emotions as well. You know, we've seen it, Matthew, we've seen it time and time again. When you get going and a caution comes out immediately, these drivers get frustrated with that. They just want to get racing. They want to go. They want to race. And not pace around behind a safety car. So, you know, not only that, throwing them out of their rhythm, but it gets them frustrated, and that takes them out of their game as well.
Yeah, definitely get that. But you also have to think, I mean, this is a good chance for him to save gas. I mean, kind of mix their tires a little bit, see if they can cool them down any.
Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, are cooler tires such a good thing here? Because we saw how loose these cars can get on cold tires.
True. I mean, obviously, you got to keep a little bit of warmth in them, but hey, I mean, obviously, trying to rest the tires, I mean, if you've possibly been abusing them, kind of arcing them in that corner, aggressively trying to do these restarts. And you also have to think, I mean, top 3, they're going to want to be a little bit coordinated in restarts so they can kind of pull away from the rest of this pack.
Absolutely. We're coming to the green flag here, so luckily a quick yellow flag here. Cars stacking up a little bit back here. Our leader's taking them down a little slow. Gonna probably get a good takeoff here, wait to the straightaway, and that's kind of what you need to do. Time your restart's good. There we go. Green flag's back out, and he's taken off. Robert has in another great restart.
Yeah, seeing Robert get a very good restart here. Charles Teed, that's been a big thing we've seen this season, is a lot of these guys, second and third place, they're having trouble trying to match the leader on these restarts. Another caution's out. Big wreck in the back.
Someone is flipping uncontrollably. That is Craig Forsyth, and I think that's going to spell the end for him. That's the 3rd wreck that Craig Forsyth has been in tonight.
Yeah, it looks like Forsyth just pulled it behind the wall.
Oh yeah, he
looks like the issue actually happened ahead of him.
Gonna look back here on the accident really quick here. And to see what happened, it looked like they got all the way cleanly going through the corner. Yep, somebody up front.
Looked like Nicholas got involved a little bit, or may have started this one off a little bit. Oh no! Actually, there's someone ahead of them. We take a look back here.
See, oh yeah, I think it was. Oh yeah, it was cold tires. Cold tires on Todd Schneider's machine sent him spinning through the turn in turns 2 there, and this, you know, just as we talked about, Matthew, cold tires. You talked about tires cooling down. These drivers probably were one of the ones that had to do the quick repair and get back on the racetrack with tires, and he all by himself looped it around in turn number 2.
Yeah, I mean, you guys got to look at some of this stuff where, fortunately, just bad momentum, wrong place, wrong time. That's what we always talk about here. Is you don't want to use that fast repair prematurely, but that's the thing where, I mean, a bad situation can easily force you into using it, and that's unfortunately what happened to a lot of these guys. Or in the area of, unfortunately, I had to use it earlier on a stack up that wasn't of my control, and I got caught in the wreck that wasn't also of my control. So that's a big killer for tonight.
Yeah, it really is, and that spells out the end of Craig Forsyth. For on lap 22 of 120, where we still have less than 100 laps to go, and your night's already done. And I don't want to say or tell Craig that you were talking about him as your dark horse pick, because I think you pretty much did give him the commentator's curse.
I mean, I feel bad for Craig, but this has been a statement of his season where his finishes doesn't really show you how much effort he's put in, how fast he truly is. So definitely he's going to be looking, at least I hope that he turns it around here soon.
I completely agree with that. As we are under caution again here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, the third caution in a span of 10 laps, I guess you could say.
We're going to go ahead and shoot off to a quick commercial here while they're under the caution flag.
Yep, and you won't miss any of the action.
Welcome, race fans. This is Paul Page, the voice of IndyCars. And today we're excited to present another IndyCar event brought to you by the Dark Horse IndyCar Series. From the Unzers to Mears, Foyt, and Andretti, now it's Corley, Peterson, Davies, Gardner, and Team. You can expect high speeds, incredible wheel-to-wheel action, and intense drama that you could only get in an IndyCar. So sit back and enjoy your favorite drivers from all over the world take the track. Dark Horse IndyCar drivers, start your engine.
ETE Reman is the world's best remanufacturer of transmissions for import and domestic cars and trucks. Based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, our customers are repair shops, auto parts stores, dealerships, and distributors. And with 6 nationwide warehouses, we're where and when you need us. So when you're looking for a transmission that is like new, only better, instill confidence and install ETE Reman.
And welcome back to Dark Horse IndyCar Racing here at the Worldwide Technology Raceway. Michael Norman and Matthew Rodriguez in the broadcast booth tonight, getting ready to go back to racing on lap 25 of 120. So less than 100 laps to go. Matt, can these drivers keep it green for the rest of this way?
That's a big thing. I know everyone in the front of the pack is complaining about the back of the pack, and the back of the pack is complaining about the front of the pack. That's going to be a big challenge as Maleska gets to another good restart. See, Gary Coley worked his way up here. He's been another one of those guys who's been silently working his way through the field and through the point standings this past few weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been working his way up, keeping steady, get some good finishes up there, and he needs to keep up that momentum to be able to gain those spots in the points. As we're looking back here, Charles Teed now in losing. He must have came down pit road because he didn't restart in the second place like I figured he would. And so he's back here battling now. Oh, boy.
So everyone's trying to jockey for position here because, like I said, on these restarts, this is your time to really make up a lot of positions and try to pass while everyone's close together. So that's going to be a big challenge here as we see that Moskowitz really trying that inside line against Team.
Absolutely. You got Paul Jennings up here. He's, I think, a couple of laps down. He says he's scoring him in the 24th position, but he's kind of up here battling. He's 3 laps down, battling amongst the pack here. He could try to get up and pass leader in his own right, but we've got 20 cars.
Corley's still pressing the attack against Robert here. Like I said, obviously you heard from Robert himself. He said clean air is what's preferred here. So that's going to be the big question, seeing if Gary's really trying to push the attack, trying to get around him.
Yeah, you saw Robert just take an outer angle into the corner, and that really helped his drive off. Now can Gary keep up the momentum? This is the closest someone's been to Robert since the start of this race, so he obviously timed it pretty good.
Eric Schaus definitely just made a pass on Nick DeGroot here. Schaus is another one that we really haven't talked about today, where he's been... There's a few guys in this league that's been really silent about trying to move up the field, and Eric's been one of them.
Oh yeah, he's been trying. He's keeping quiet, just running his own race. That's what you have to do. You have to, forget about everything else. Forget about everything. Forget about past races. Focus on what's ahead of you and what's ahead of you holding that steering wheel. So just run your own race, keep quiet, and that's a great way to win some races and keep up your consistent finishes.
And we've pointed out his qualifying woes, but right now we see Matt Wagner finally break his way into the top 5. I mean, we haven't really seen him with outright speed. I don't know if he's been holding it back or just been kind of just riding around, but it definitely feels like the back of the pack isn't the place to hang out.
Yeah, absolutely not. He's been probably saving his stuff. He's worked his way from the back of the pack, now, as you said, into the top 5, and it looks like he's trying to just pick them off one at a time and slowly, as he's got DeGroot on his back bumper now, ready as his back wing coming up to the high lane here. Look at DeGroot trying to make a pass on the outside lane.
So it's worth noting that Matt Wagner technically looks like he dropped down, got some fresh tires on that last caution. But DeGroot is still fighting on those original tires, still with the original fuel load in that car. So obviously we heard 32 to 35 laps is the limit. Obviously with these cautions it's been pushed out a little bit more, but I mean, do you think these front runners are hoping for a caution here, or?
It depends on the strategy that they're doing. You would think, especially Robert, you would think maybe he would want a caution flag here, as I'm assuming he'd have to come down to pit road within the next 5 laps here, and that could throw strategy and this whole race out of whack, especially if they get a caution during the cycle of green flag pit stops.
Julian, we just saw there, Matt Wagner got 5th position back from DeGroot. Not sure exactly what happened there, but it's worth noting that DeGroot, at least on this restart, he's lost about 2 or 3 positions, so it's worth questioning whether these old tires are really going to be able to be as strong as they were at Motegi.
Yeah, and that's something I've been wondering too, is just how well old tires can hold up against new tires, and it's so far been kind of a back and forth battle between these two here, so And
Schaus just got around Corley.
Oh yeah, he did up here. He's only a second back from our leader. He's gonna try to reel him in, and the question is, can he do it before pit stops start?
Here's my question. I mean, I saw Gary. I mean, Gary really was pushing it, but as soon as he got passed by Schaus, I mean, he dropped about 0.4, 0.5 seconds back. So I'm a little bit confused. See if he has any side pod damage or anything. I'm not sure why he dropped so dramatically.
It might be possible. That could be the reason why Eric got around him, because I can still see him. He's fallen. He's going to lose another spot back there. He very well might have hit the wall out of turn 2 a couple of laps ago.
Not quite sure, but now he's under attack from Matt Wagner there. Wagner, of course, I mean, he's looking for a free position. Looks like Gary's not going to give it up that easily, though.
I'm gonna go back and look and see if we can see when exactly he hit the wall. If he did,
Gary just made the pass on the inside of Corley. Oh, Wagner and Corley in the wall.
Oh, I see that now. You big wreck on the front straightaway. All these drivers slowing down, able to avoid him here, but that's going to be a big-time wreck here. Gary Corley, you were just talking about him. And, that's the 99 as well of Matt Wagner.
Our
that's
second place in points.
Oh, he can barely hold that car straight. Let's go ahead and take a look back.
We saw it on live view. Yeah, we saw it on live view. It almost looks like just a miscalculation from Wagner there. Because you see him battling out here in the middle of 3s, getting out of 4, going onto the front straightaway. Wagner looks like he wants to complete the pass and just tags the side of Corley and just turns them both into the wall. I said nothing but Gary could have done there. Unfortunately, this looks like a little bit of a miscalculation there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was very close. It looked like he thought he was clear. He thought he was clear, but I think that Gary just had a run back on the outside lane. It could have been a little bit of net code there or something, because it looked like Matt's car just hooked a dead right up into the wall, and they weren't even making contact yet.
Yeah, definitely seeing that.
Oh, who was that just skidded by 99 on the outside lane there?
I definitely say the biggest killer here has to be the fact that Gary did have to tow. He was not able to make it back to pit road, as you saw when he tried to drive away. Looks like the left front tire was up on the ground a little bit, didn't have at least any drive left in it.
Yeah, and if you could see Matt Wagner on the course there, he's driving his car just all types of sideways on the straightaway here with that massive damage.
Yeah, definitely. And that's going to be the big thing. At least Matt can make it back to pit road. That's going to be the most important thing, as he's crab walking all the way down the entrance of the access road. Oh, there's another wreck on pit road. Wagner had issues.
More issues for Matt Wagner.
Not exactly sure what happened here.
Oh, it was something with it had to have been something with the car braking. That's what it looked like. Yeah, it definitely looked like something broke.
What it looks like more or less is when he slowed down to just a certain point, it looks like the steering finally caught up with it. I mean, you saw how much he was cranking the wheel over just to keep it straight. So probably, of course, when he finally got slow enough, the wheel finally caught and it turned dead left.
Yeah, and I don't think he was expecting that.
That's going to
a tough
spell
break.
disaster. That's going to spell disaster for our second place in points.
You got a new race leader right now. That is Charles Teed in the 5 machine. It looks like he got a great pit stop off the corner, and Robert Malechka has fallen back to the 4th position in those round of pit stops.
Yeah, I'm a little bit curious about what Teed did on his pit stop. I mean, I'm looking at the stop time, and it was 0.5 seconds, so I'm not sure if he packed the thing full of fuel.
And look here.
Actually, technically, it looks like he's been out for at least 19 laps on this current stint, along with Van de Sant and Herrick.
Actually, it doesn't even look like he came to pit road.
Yeah, currently, Teed, Van de Sant, and Herrick are currently the only 3 that stayed out there. Everyone behind, from Malechka all the way to Peterson, everyone's made one visit to pit road.
Well, now we'll get the ultimate test of old versus new tires here. We'll see how long it takes Robert to come back to cut through the field here, as it looks like Paul is going to have a wave around here, because as he's ahead of the pack here, to get one of his 2 laps back.
Now remember, what we saw at Motegi was these old tires were able to battle against newer tires just because they had the clean air and they had track position. So that's going to be the big question here. If that's still the same, or if the new tires are going to have a little bit of advantage. Now we saw when Wagner, and I believe it was also I'm blanking for a name. I believe it was Eric Schaus was cutting. We're cutting just through the field with new tires. So that's going to be a big question here.
Yeah, it's going to definitely be a big question here. Now, I'm actually excited to see this. This is kind of like a science test. I'd love to see how these, for the first time, the old tires versus new tires cut on this restart here. But Matt, what do you think is going to happen? How long do you think it'll take Robert to catch through the field here, being one of the dominant cars?
Well, that's the big question. We saw how difficult it is to pass here. So the question, more or less, in my mind, isn't if these new tires or these old tires versus new tires. It's really how quickly he can cut through traffic, because obviously the bottom lane is the preferred lane, but I've been seeing some of these guys have a very good run off the top.
Green flag is back out, and Charles pulls away immediately. That was a great restart for Charles.
Yeah, it looks like Herrick did not get a good restart there. Kind of stacked up from third on back. But Van de Sant currently in hot pursuit of Teed. Herrick and Maleska are battling here. Looking back through the field, looks like Moskowitz and Gardner are currently swapping positions, or at least battling for positions here.
Yeah, Garner just, I don't know if he had a bad restart, but he's just losing spots left and right. I don't know if maybe he has some damage he hasn't repaired on that machine or something. Caution is out again. Oh, it's on the front straightaway here. It looks like it is Eric Peterson.
Oh, and look at the damage on Peterson's car. No nose cone in the back. Spoiler is a little bit bent. Go ahead and take a quick look back here and see what happened. Oh, it looks like that's going to be a big problems here for Matt Wagner as well. I just saw him involved. Looks like Wagner and Peterson may have gotten involved here. So we see they go into turn 3, coming in the middle. See Wagner get amazing run. Looks like he bounces in the Corley a little bit and then just gives Wagner just a little bit of time to tap his back end. And unfortunately, that was all it took.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's all it took for them. It's just a good run off the corner. Somebody come up in your way, thinking they're clear when they weren't, and then you got carnage happen afterwards.
But again, that's giant implications for Wagner. Wagner again entered second in points. Just used that fast repair to get back on track here, and again, he no longer has a fast repair. That's going to be a big killer to his race.
Absolutely. As here comes the drivers who did not pit the first time around coming back down this time. That's going to, I think, maybe cycle over Robert as the lead, or maybe no, maybe it'll go to Jim Herrick. Oh no. Actually, the 317 of Alex, he's taken over the lead. He stays out again.
Yeah, Van de Sant and Herrick, they still stay out. They've been on their stint for about 24 laps now. When they came down, they did take 4 full tires and fuel. So that's going to be definitely an interesting one. I'm willing to go out on a limb and bet that Teed actually, when he came down the first time, he probably didn't take tires and fuel at all. He may have just taken a little bit of a splash and went.
Yeah, or it could possibly have been he missed his pit stall too. So that could have been something. We're not entirely sure what happened here, but he's coming down to get the fresh tires and fuel now. So I wonder if Alex is on a strategy of not pitting until he absolutely has to, whether that's going to be under green or under yellow.
I mean, you got to think. The longer you stay out, the more you're kind of editing your strategy here. Now, the big question's going to be, and we saw it with this pretty much this last caution, I think that really saved Teed from possibly pitting off sequence, is again, really with these strategies, everyone else is packing full of fuel and getting their strategy pretty much nailed down, but you're staying out on your original strategy. So this could easily burn you if this goes sideways and, hey, a caution doesn't fall exactly when you want, you're forced to come down alone.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the rate that these cautions have been flying, I'm sure he wonders if he'll get another quick caution to be able to come down and pit under the yellow flag.
Absolutely. We're going to go ahead and step aside here for a quick commercial. We'll go ahead and leave you with an FRN side-by-side.
Welcome, race fans. This is Paul Page, the voice of IndyCars. And today we're excited to present another IndyCar event brought to you by the Dark Horse IndyCar Series. From the Unzers to Mears, Foyt, and Andretti, now it's Corley, Peterson, Davies, Gardner, and Teed. You can expect high speeds, incredible wheel-to-wheel action, and intense drama that you could only get in an IndyCar. So sit back and enjoy your favorite drivers from all over the world take the track. Dark Horse IndyCar drivers, start your engine.
ETE Reman is the world's best remanufacturer of transmissions for import and domestic cars and trucks. Based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, our customers are repair shops, auto parts stores, dealerships, and distributors. And with 6 nationwide warehouses, we're where and when you need us. So when you're looking for a transmission that is like new, only better, instill confidence and install ETE Reman.
Welcome, race fans. This is Paul Page, the voice of IndyCars. And today we're excited to present another IndyCar event brought to you by the Dark Horse IndyCar Series. From the Unzers to Mears, Forsyth, and Andretti, now it's Corley, Peterson.
And welcome back to Dark Horse IndyCar Racing here at the Worldwide Technology Speedway. Just got the green flag. We're back underway here. The 317 of Alex van der Sant is our race leader right now. Has not been to pit road yet. And we were talking about it prior to the commercial break, Matthew. When do you think we're going to be seeing him come down pit road?
That's the big question. Obviously, you said these cars have about a fuel run of 32 to 35 laps, but we've had generous amounts of caution laps so we could save fuel. So that's going to be the big question going forward. How many laps did he save? Did you see Maleska make an amazing move on the inside of Jim Herrick? Looks like he's going to be after Van der Sant now.
Yep, he's got moved up into the second place. Now he's got his sights set on the race leader. We are still under the green flag, so that's good for him at least. But going back through the pack here, we've got 18 cars out of 26 on the lead lap, and I think only 24 cars still on the racetrack.
Yeah, right now we're going through the field here a little bit. Top four definitely a little bit scrunched in. Looks like Schaus is trying to make a move on Jim Herrick. Looks like he'll manage to do it on the inside of 3. And that's the big question here is, right now Schaus is running, actually it looks like he pitted about 11 laps ago. So he's definitely on one of the fresher sets of tires right there with Maleska. So obviously, right now he's trying to take advantage of these new tires while he's got them. It looks like Robert managed to make it past Van der Sant, but Van der Sant's fighting back on the inside.
Absolutely, and that's going to bring third place of Eric Schaus right up to them. This is quickly turning into a 3-car battle for the race lead.
Like I said, right now Maleska only wants to get by Van der Sant so he can put at least a little bit of ground between him and Eric. But right now, Alex is not making it easy. He's getting a great run off of the corners, at least on the high side, and making a great move down the back straightaway to cross over.
This is where we're seeing the outside lane come into play. Caution flag is out once again. Looking for on the racetrack.
Victor Santos. Victor Santos is involved here.
Yeah, he's slow with no nose on his machine here down the back straightaway. So this is the caution that I think Alex was banking on, as we might see him come down pit road this time.
Yeah, and as we saw there, really what happened as soon as he is coming out of 2, it looks like maybe his back tires are worn just a little bit, slid out from under him, and just that little bit of overcorrection is just enough to snap the car around here.
Luckily, with that little bit of opening on the pit wall back there, he was able to kind of stay out of people's way while he was getting that car refired and going back in the right direction.
This actually hasn't been a point that we've touched on, but I remember when we were doing our practice laps around the track, trying to test out the setup, trying to test out how this car would feel for tonight. The main thing that we started looking at, for just almost little time-saving maneuvers or maybe something that can give you a little bit of an edge if you tried, would be shifting down to 4th, at least in the entry or exit of 2, and trying to get a little bit of extra, at least RPM or speed to get you back up. Do you really think that's going to adversely affect fuel mileage any?
Well, shifting is always a way to, get a better corner exit, but I feel like it wastes more fuel that way because you're having to shift down, so you're keeping your RPMs high rather than being in the higher gear off the corner and keeping them low, working their way up. So, we've heard of short shifting on road courses, and then you heard of hardly shifting on road courses. Like, for instance, from going to gear 4 at Sonoma up through the first couple of turns. Usually they'll shift back down to 3rd, but if they stay in 4th until they need to, they'll save fuel that way. And breaking story right now is that Matt Wagner has taken his car behind the wall, so second place in points is officially done for the evening.
Yeah, I do actually want to put a little bit of point on something. Look at second place right now. Look at who's running second place. Covey Moore, the guy who was involved in that gigantic pileup, at least I believe that is our second caution of the day. So obviously a great recovery for him. but still a red flag that he doesn't have a fast repair or anything remaining on him.
Well, he's not letting that stop him, because here he is, like you said, up in second place. He might even go for the lead if he gets a good enough restart here, and that's what you need. We talked about this being a race of the brave, and even with no fast repair now, Covey Moore is definitely being brave on being up there in second place in the thick of things.
I mean, definitely looking at it right now, Maletzka and Moore have the same tires, at least here. They both pitted 15 laps ago. They've both been saving under these cautions. That's going to be the big decider. Right now, looking at the top 5, the top 4 currently have the same set of tires, same set of fuel. But Charles Teed managed to work his way back in the 5th after he had to pit about 10 laps ago. So he's currently got the freshest tire of the bunch.
Yeah, but as we've seen, fresher tires, that's not necessarily an advantage here, as drivers on old tires are actually able to hang with the drivers with new tires here. So it's really going to come down a lot to speed and what position you have on the car in front of you in the corners, because we've seen both the high lane and the low lane work to specific drivers' advantages here. Now we are approaching halfway in this race. We are going to go green on lap 58 of 120 here. So, Matt, your thoughts so far of the first half of this race here at Worldwide Technology Raceway?
I mean, that's definitely kind of brought us kind of the same action that we anticipated pre-race. Like I said, it is going to be a big calamity race if you mess up. And like I said, we've seen some very big mistakes here. Now, the big question for the second part of this race is, I mean, obviously limiting these mistakes, brain fade, and also just general tiredness. I mean, remember, this is a 120-lap race. We're about almost an hour in right now, but some of these drivers have been doing practice for hours before. They were doing qualifying, prepping. So that's going to be a big question to see if anyone might have just a momentary lapse, because that's all it takes.
And as I said earlier, as we're getting ready to go back green, in terms of all of these caution laps, how many of these drivers are getting frustrated that it seems to be running more caution than green flag laps tonight, as the green flag is back out and our race leader Robert has such a great restart once again.
Yeah, but don't count Covey Moore out, along with Jim Brooks. Jim Brooks, he's been a guy who has not had a great season at all. I'd say if you remember past about 4 or 5 races, he's been involved in wrecks. He's been spun around. Road courses are definitely not his friend, but he's definitely hoping to turn that around. You see Moore's battling Robert. Moore's managing to take that momentum to the bottom side, doesn't get it done.
Moore's got to be careful. That nose holds all the downforce for these cars. You don't want to damage that wing.
We got to remember, Moore has a little bit more to lose here. Maletzka still has a fast repair at his disposal, but Covey does not.
Yeah, you don't want to take that chance. He's brave, but I don't think he's that brave just yet.
You can see it right now. I've noticed a lot of these drivers have started to kind of migrate off that bottom lane, so that's the big question. Earlier in practice, we were noticing a lot of these drivers attacking that bottom lane. But as we've seen recently, everyone's been staying about almost a lane or 2 up in at least 1 and 2, as we saw that Maletzka started to run the bottom lane in about middle of 3 and 4.
Yeah, I think the inside lane is, as we see Covey Moore use it right there in turns 1 and 2, you just lose a lot of momentum running the inside lane compared to the outside lane, as now here comes Benjamin Combs up. He's going to take over the second position.
No joke. Benjamin got a great run. I did notice that Covey did nick the rumble strips in 1 and 2 just a little bit, so I've wondered if that affected him any.
Well, yeah, I noticed that in turns 3 and 4, you hit the rumble strips, you're liable to loop the car, and out of running a little bit lower speed in 1 and 2 hitting the rumble strips, I'm sure that just really upset his race car.
Not sure if Brooks and Moore had contact there. Look at Teed go all the way to the inside.
There he goes right here. Yeah, into the wall in front of him.
Brooks in the wall.
Oh, now it's going to be some major damage for that 71. I'd be liable to see him on liable to see him on pit road. No, that was Jim. Oh, yep, here he goes. He was not able to hold it from the damage. He lost it in turns 3 and 4, and that's going to bring out another caution.
And unfortunately, that picture in one word sums up Jim Brooks' season. I said flashes of greatness, and unfortunately, just either mistakes of just by chance or caught in situations that he has no way to avoid.
Yeah, he just went into the corner, as you can see, and lost it from the damage that he sustained from hitting the wall. And I think he was just trying to be a little too brave in 1 and 2, and it just pounded the outside wall with the safer barrier there.
I mean, he definitely tried to get it back to pit road, but did a good job getting it out of the racing lane.
Yeah, he got it out of the racing lane, especially when after he hit the wall, he let the drivers go by. Couldn't quite get to the inside to take the access road, and unfortunately, I'm not sure if it was maybe a tire or that was down, but I just ended up looping the car and bringing out our caution flag here. Another driver who has taken his car behind the wall is Jim Herrick, as he has gone behind the wall here, so it's a tough break for Jim here, a tough break for the Jims, and now Jeffrey Duncan has officially taken his car behind the wall as well.
And look at who's leading, Nick DeGroot. Looks like his last pit stop was about 17 laps ago. And it looks like, honestly, he just took fuel, so that's going to be a question. I don't know how old of tires he's on. But as we see, Covey Moore still behind him. Van de Sant slowly started to work his way back up. I believe he is on the next freshest tires, 10 laps old, along with Schnaus and Gardner. But after that, Maletzka kind of led the troops down. Everyone got new tires behind them.
Yeah, and that's about as far back as we've seen Maletzka in this race so far, back in the 5th position here. You're going to have to wait and see what time will tell on what him and how fast he can come up through this field here. But like we said, old tires, new tires, it really doesn't matter. It really depends on the line you take in the corner here. And while new tires, you may have a little bit of extra grip there, it probably doesn't really help as much as you think it would.
I mean, as we look throughout the field here, kind of similar names. We're also seeing some new names that we usually don't see up here. Like I said, typically it's been the Maletzka show here in the past few races, but right now we've got Covey Moore. I mean, like I said, we haven't seen very much of Moore in the previous few races, but he's been slowly making himself known.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he needs to do. You know, he showcase his talent, that he's not just somebody who can run mid-pack, that he can finish good. He can gain spots, take the lead when he needs to. He's just got to let his strategy play out.
True, but I do have to kind of ask you a question here, which is more or less, I mean, do you really think that this championship will be decided off of wins or possibly consistency? I mean, like I said, we've seen some very grave errors from both Maletzka and DeGroot here, and that's kind of left them at a little bit of a risk. And then we've seen, again, usually Matt Wagner is solid in these races, and he started to fumble here with 2 wrecks in this race, took him out of contention. Don't know how that will affect him in points, but he'll definitely lose second.
Yeah, and as you said, I definitely think that championship will be decided on the consistency. I mean, he hasn't won every race. Maletzka has not won every single race. He's just been really, really consistent to keep that 90-point gap he had over second place, whomever that might be. And depending on where he finishes, that gap might just increase even more. Now, he's got less to worry about now finishing position-wise than he did when he started this race, because second place in points has officially retired from the session. So now he's just out here to ride and just try to win the race.
Absolutely. As we look at our top 5 here, DeGroot, Moore, Van de Sant, Schaus, and Gardner, definitely leaving us with a little bit different of a top 5. But we'll look at Maletzka here, and Maletzka's kind of put in a different situation. He's been playing cat and mouse ever since about lap 40 of been just trying to get back to the lead.
Yeah, and that's the part, his car, that's what practice was about. He tested in practice, he was all about trying to get behind cars just to see how his cars will handle in draft. As you see, green flag back out. They snake down the front straightaway trying to block a run here as DeGroot takes them off into turn 1.
Well, we saw DeGroot and Moore go there. That's definitely the advantage of having teammates. I mean, obviously, you have to expect there's some kind of team communication there telling them when they're going to go. And obviously that helped first and second kind of run away with it here. But Schaus and Van de Sant were left sleeping.
A battle for the lead. Here comes Covey on the inside of DeGroot, and I think Covey's going to get it, but he has to let off the gas a lot for turn 1, and DeGroot's going to drive right by him back on the outside lane. Also note, Jim Herrick is now back on the racetrack.
That's been always my biggest thing, which is, I mean, what makes you more scared, racing a teammate or racing another competitor? The one thing that's always made me more scared is racing a teammate, because you're always worried about implications if you accidentally get into them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's definitely that tightrope that these two are walking here at the moment. Moore could easily push the issue, but it's the thing of, I mean, hey, you don't want to take out your teammate with you. And then also, again, Moore doesn't have a fast repair left.
So you see them snaking down the straightaway, trying to break the draft. We've seen that a lot, even on a short track like this one. Draft still comes into play on these long straightaways.
See Moore make the pass to the inside. It looks like he doesn't want to push the issue in the 1, so that's the big deciding factor right now.
You got
look like Schaus caught up.
Yep, I was just about to say, here comes Eric Schaus. Now he's caught up to the top 2 here. He's just biting his time, trying to run about the middle lane through the corners here. And that's one thing you've noticed too. The middle lane has more grip than the inside lane, and the outside lane gets you a good run off the corner. So if you're Eric Schaus, what are you thinking looking at these front 2 race like this?
Well, obviously you're gonna be factoring in, like, hey, we're both teammates. They're both kind of working at least together here in some coordination. So obviously it's gonna take a little bit of thought to pass them. My big question is, was DeGroot possibly hurting Moore by letting Moore stay behind him? Because obviously right now it looks like Moore has fresher tires than DeGroot.
As you can see, the pass made by Schaus to the inside. That was very close through turns 3 and 4. They got real close.
Look at Van de Sant. Van de Sant sent it all the way down.
He is trying very hard. He tried a 3-wide move there. Didn't quite have the run there, but he respected him. He just said over the radio that was very he just did something very respectful there, that he backed off just a little bit so nothing happened. But he gave out that little warning saying, if you do that again, it's going to be a little different. As now we're heading back here. Here comes, I believe that is the 7 machine. That's Gary Corley up here. He was involved in a wreck earlier, and here he is into the top 10.
We got to remember, Corley is still 3 laps down.
That's right.
So right now, he's battling with these leaders. But right now, I'm seeing one guy who's following him, and that's going to be Robert Maletska. He's slowly working his way on the inside.
Oh, man, he just pulled right up in front.
I'm seeing right here, Eric Schaus is currently still trying to run down DeGroot. He's kind of close.
We got a wreck.
Oh, no.
Looks
like Moore's involved. Corley's involved.
And I watched that happen. That was a lapped car. Just they were arguing over the same spot.
And definitely that's gonna end Kobe's night. But just looking back here, looks like Maletska might have gotten involved here.
Yeah, the 7 machine came down. Maletska was trying to make the pass, running his own racing line there, and those two just ended up making contact.
See, this is usually what we're talking about later in the race, where kind of his brain fade is happening. But I mean, I can see the defense for both sides here. I mean, obviously, right then and there, the 7 was going down to block the lane defensively. But also, I can see 91's defense, where the 91's on the lead lap and trying to pass him for position, or really not even for position.
Yeah, not for position at all. And that was just him trying to come up through the pack to get his lap back the hard way. And just, when you have somebody there that's just faster than you and battling for a spot, trying to run down the leaders, there's just should have given him just a little bit more room, in my honest opinion.
Yeah, just looking here, that just caught up a few really just innocent bystanders. I mean, they kind of had no qualms in this, but that's the thing where we're kind of trying to drive home, but Gateway has no really escape routes when something like this happens. And just because, obviously, cars naturally, when they spin going 170, will most likely hit the outside wall, but that doesn't stop some of these cars from spinning back down the track. So it makes it very difficult for some of these guys behind to avoid.
Yeah, and looking at it again, just Robert had his lane picked, and the 7 just kept coming down into the corner, trying to hit the apex, and just as if he wasn't even there.
And really, this race has been a little bit of a bloodbath. I mean, we started out with 26 cars, and looks like we're down to about 17, at least running on the lead lap.
18, yeah, 18 on the lead lap. With about
Looks like Kobe's going to be the latest sacrifice here with no fast repairs left. But right now, I'd say, honestly, run about 20 more laps and you might have a guaranteed top 15 here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just the way these cars have been going. They're racing, and they're racing pretty good. So what do you say, Matt? You want to go ahead and talk to our... see if I can find him here. I'm not sure if he's left. He might have left Discord, so I don't think he's with us to be able to talk to. I was gonna pull Robert in, but I do not see him.
We'll see if we can go ahead and get him later in the race. But obviously, I don't know how. I don't know if what his opinion is about that one.
Yeah, and I was gonna try to get his opinion on the first half of this race.
But either way, we're going to go ahead and take a quick step back. Go ahead and get in one last FRN side-by-side here. Go ahead and stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Welcome, race fans. This is Paul Page, the voice of IndyCars. And today we're excited to present another IndyCar event brought to you by the Dark Horse IndyCar Series. From the Unzers to Mears, Foyt, and Andretti, now it's Corley, Peterson, Davies, Gardner, and Team. You can expect high speeds, incredible wheel-to-wheel action, and intense drama that you can only get in an IndyCar. So sit back and enjoy your favorite drivers from all over the world take the track. Dark Horse IndyCar drivers, start your engine.
ETE Reman is the world's best remanufacturer of transmissions for import and domestic cars and trucks. Based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, our customers are repair shops, auto parts stores, dealerships, and distributors. And with 6 nationwide warehouses, we're where and when you need us. So when you're looking for a transmission that is like new, only better, instill confidence and install ETE Reman.
And welcome back to Dark Horse IndyCar Series action here at Worldwide Technology Speedway. Under the lights, pace car lights are off. We're getting ready to go back to green flag racing. This time, Nick DeGroot, the leader, Eric Schaus second, Alex Vendersand in third, Robert Malechka is in fourth, and Dylan Moskowitz is in fifth place. Green flag back out. We're back underway, and Nick DeGroot gets a good jump.
That's going to be the question here. I mean, obviously, a lot of these guys have made their bed with their pit strategies. Here's the big question. Everyone, at least in that top 10, cannot make it to the end on fuel. However, I'm looking back here past the top 10, and a lot of these guys, I mean, if they really save and it goes green, they could possibly go all the way on fuel.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking 32 to 35 laps, and that depends on how many caution laps we get as well. They can actually push it a little bit further than that. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how these strategies are going to play out as we're getting late in the race. We have about 40 laps to go, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct, 40 to go this time, going down to 39. Right now, Strauss is really trying to make the push to go get Groot. Like I said, he sees Malechka and Van de Sant behind them just pushing, so obviously trying to get as far away and as much of the gap as possible.
The front two pulled away a little bit, but here comes Alex back here, snaking down the back straightaway. Something we've seen these Indy cars do many times, just trying to break the draft and also try to set up to get a good arc into the corners here. Now, we were talking about wanting to try to talk to Robert during the last caution before the commercial break, but here he is running back still in the fourth position. Now he's able to gain a spot. Let's have a battle for the lead up ahead.
DeGroot tapped the wall a little bit with the right rear. Oh, And Schaus just forced the issue, and looks like Van de Sant might have gotten a little bit of damage in that, as long with Schaus on the left rear. Not sure about that. They're still beating and banging up front.
Oh yeah, DeGroot just came over the driver's chat and said he did hit the wall a little bit. He is now off the pace just a little bit compared, and that's a very tough break for DeGroot, as he really needed a good run tonight.
See, that's what we've been talking about, where the past 2 races, that's really affected him. Motegi, he was on par, or at least on route to have a top 5 finish. Ended up not putting enough fuel in the car. Ended up finishing somewhere near later 10s, later 20s. Same thing with Coda. Cody didn't have a very good qualifying effort. Tried to work his way up to the field. Got involved in a few incidents. Qualified still, or finished still inside the top 10. But definitely those affect your championship run here.
Now, the only saving grace for DeGroot would be another caution so he can come down and use a faster pair that I don't think he's used yet, and that could get him back into contention to win this thing.
As we look here, Schaus is currently still defending that second position. One guy I see lurking back there, but we haven't heard very much from, has to be Dylan Moskowitz. He's been really strategically silent through this race, but I'm kind of curious if he'll come alive in the last 30 laps.
Yeah, he's been just back there saving tires, saving his stuff, letting things fall into place. So that could be what he's doing right now, just watching these leaders in front of him, just kind of saving his stuff, just waiting to see if his tires will come back. As you see, he's getting a big run now. He's going to pull it to the inside and try to pass for 3rd spot.
Yeah, and right now that's the big name of the game, where you have to be patient, but you have to start pushing the issue. Obviously, if you start forcing the issue, we're going to have same issues like we saw with Nick DeGroot touching the wall and trying to make a 3-wide pass. That's not what these drivers want. They don't want the risk of damage. They want to do these passes cleanly and really as precisely as possible, so they waste the least amount of time. Right now, Schaus and Moskowitz, they're about almost a second away from Van de Sant. Van de Sant run away.
Caution is out.
Durand in the back with Jennings as well. Looks like Spell was not involved. Looks like Jennings, Durand, and McDory here, or McAdory.
Yep, couple cars on the back straightaway. Going to go ahead and take a look. I think the 94.
Actually, it looks like it happened ahead of them. Actually,
that's what I was going to say. I think he was kind of part of something. Oh yeah, it was a black and pink car.
That might be the car of
Paul Jennings. It is Paul Jennings.
So Jennings might have got this one kicked off here, as we see he's going and exiting 2. Looks like he went wheel to wheel with Gardner there.
Oh, and that was a hard hit to the back of that machine. I just kind of stuck in the middle here. And then the 94 spun the 4 when the 4 was just trying to slow down.
Really, I think that was chain reaction. 94 just didn't see the instant ahead of him, trying to figure out where the yellow flag was. Unfortunately, just turned him on around. I imagine
coming down pit road.
Imagine Paul Jennings might have a few thoughts about that, but obviously everyone's trying to make it to the end. Right now, we are within range where these cars can make it without another pit stop. So that's going to be the big question. Right now, it looks like Gardner, T, and Todd. Gardner, Schneider, and Teed stay out. Looks like Van de Sant won the race off pit road, but Schaus looks like he may get a penalty for unsafe pit exit.
Yeah, he was definitely in the grass for a second there. I'm not sure what happened. Oh, he tried to hit the gas to get going, and his tire spun. That's what happened there. So we'll have to wait and see what the ruling is for him. But yeah, and the front 2 stayed out. But also, this is a big break for Nick DeGroot. If he has his faster pair, I'm sure he used it to get back into contention and hopefully gain all these spots back to battle once again for the lead where he was at.
So that's the thing. And we talked about it last week, not every race is going to be a record-setting pace. Some of these weeks you really do need just to fight for damage control and fight for as much points as possible. That's what really makes these championship runs, valuable, because again, you don't want to be that guy at the final race saying, man, if I had 3 more points, I could have won this thing. I mean, those 3 points can really be earned and lost here. That's the big deciders.
Absolutely. Well, Matt, he's here. Do you want to talk to Robert under this caution?
If he's available, let's see if we can go ahead and pull him.
Hey, Robert, it's Michael and Matt up here in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Man, it's back in 7th place so far. That's 6 to 7. That's about as lowest as you've been all race. How's the car handling for the second half?
It's fine. Just kind of playing it easy because these guys are racing super hard up front, and if they wreck, I don't want to be caught up in it.
Yeah, we saw that 3-wide move for the lead route. I mean, what's your kind of take on that? I mean, is it go time yet, or is go time somewhere near 15 to 10?
Oh yeah, I mean we're not going to stop again. So at least for Alex and Schaus and I, we're not stopping again. So yeah, it's go time. Track position seems to be huge right now.
Yeah, after that first half here, you know, what's your opinion on from the first half of this race going on to the second?
A lot of the cautions kind of messed up. You know, jumping up the strategies here. So most of the run, people were on different sets of tires, different fuel levels, so you didn't really know where you were in reference to everyone else around you. So now that we're kind of all equal in tires and fuel, you'll kind of see the big dogs get up to the front.
I've got to ask, so these restarts, I mean, we've seen usually a top 2, top 3 breakaway on these restarts. Is that something you're looking to kind of take advantage of or possibly worried about?
Personally, no. I know I can stay up with Alex and Eric. I just gotta get by Brooks here and keep in touch with them. But I know, you know, if they get side by side, I think the undercut off of turn 4 is going to work really well. So go 3 wide to the line, or you can just go into turn 1.
All right, man. Well, good luck, and hopefully we'll talk to you in victory lane.
Yep, thanks, boys.
That was Robert here. We're getting ready to go back to green. Looks like Charles Teed is going to be second. Our race leader is Josh Gardner. He's bringing them down slowly as the safety car ducks in, and we are back under the green flag here. There he goes, he takes off. A good restart here for Josh.
You know, one guy I wouldn't count out in this group has to be Gale Brooks. We haven't talked about Gale very much this season. I mean, just seeing him up here is really amazing, trying to see what he could possibly pull off on this last 28-lap run. See, Gardner, looks like Teed makes a run to the inside. Gardner loses on the outside. Van de Sant also looks like he's trying to take advantage along with Schaus.
Well, this is a good 5-car battle for the race lead up here. This is the tightest it's been and since the beginning of this race.
Van de Sant's not pulling any punches now. He wants that lead. I said he enjoyed it earlier, but that's been a big problem, which is, hey, on these restarts, you have to make the most of it. Schaus behind him, along with Gale Brooks, looked like he almost went 3 wide there.
Yeah, you've got 28, 27 laps to go. In my opinion, it'd be go time. You've seen how difficult it is to make passes here, so you've got to go as early as you can. As you can see, the outside lanes, especially in 1 and 2, really, really are a big help trying to get off the corner.
Obviously, we were talking about earlier that 1 and 2 is definitely a lifting/braking zone. Maybe drivers found something a little bit different up high where they didn't have to lift as much, or they could arc more in to get a better exit.
Keep your eyes peeled. Here comes Robert Malechka now. He got past 2 cars, and he's now up to the 5th position. As you see, there's still 4 cars in front of him trying to battle, going 3 and 4 wide. Here comes a big run.
I'm going to tell you, Gardner has not made life easy on Van de Sant. He is definitely opened the room up. Malechka started to make a run here on the bottom.
He didn't care if he was clear or not. He was getting to the inside, and he's now taking over 3rd place. It looks like 2 team cars now running up in the 1st and 2nd position.
Yeah, right now, Gardner is winning the award for best teammate of the season. He has fended off all attacks from Teed, or all attacks for Teed.
Down the back straightaway here, these cars get a very good draft down these straightaways here. No wonder we see them snaking down the straightaways here, as you would see them do at a track like Indianapolis or others. As now here comes Robert Malechka to the outside for 2nd place, and he might be able to clear him coming off of turn 2.
That's the thing. You definitely were on it, Michael. Definitely there's something on that high lane that's winning in 1 and 2.
Blocking. Well, he backed out of it too. He knew better than that, but man, Robert's not going to put up with too much of that.
That's the thing. Malechka sees another victory. He sees another points boost here if he gets past Teed. Teed's still trying to keep himself in it, trying to improve his points position. And of course, another win on the season doesn't hurt.
Keeping an eye back here. The battle's really back here. Here's Victor Santos. He's now trying to move up to the 3rd position.
Teed still battling on the inside. They're 2x2 back there.
And yeah, they are just all over they're all over the racetrack, 2-3 wide. We talked to him. It's go time.
Yeah, we asked Robert. He said it was go time, so a lot of these guys must have gotten the memo as well, as Robert managed to get past Teed. Teed's now going to go least in the defenses as Victor Santos. Santos has been quiet for most of this race. He's now started to work his way into the top 2. Excellent crossover on Teed. He's making some runs on the bottom side. Again, 1 and 2. We've heard that Highline's better.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got 20 laps to go.
Oh, Van de Sant! Van de Sant goes around.
Oh, that was a tough break for Van de Sant here. He was running really good. I'm not sure if he has a faster pair left or not.
That car is killed. You saw it just weaving around on the bottom there. It looks like the steering's murdered out of it.
Oh, he had a little help.
Let's go ahead and take a look back there. Right there, we see Eric Schaus right on the back end of the 317. Looks like Schaus just sent it just a little bit too much, gave Van de Sant just a little bit of assistance. And now is all she wrote. Slammed the wall, broke the suspension. See right there, he was having some trouble steering a little bit. Go ahead and take a look back.
Just gotta hope he doesn't overcorrect.
Yep, taking a look from Schaus's onboard here. Definitely see him going into the corner. And that's the thing where we have less than 20 laps to go. Everyone's trying to gain all they can, and unfortunately just caught him. Doesn't look like there's any damage on Schaus's car here.
That might be a lucky break for Eric, because with you know how fragile the front noses on these cars are, so that could have been a big time problem for him.
We'll take a look back from. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm getting a little distracted. These drivers are talking about all the cool racing that just took place here, and they're laughing and carrying on about it. So
they're probably the racing's cool as long as you're not involved in it. That's the big thing. It's all fun and games until you get involved.
Yeah, that's definitely say that. So letting the wave around car go to the outside lane here. Yeah, these drivers are having fun, so I feel there's no ill will for anybody in here. It says that's really what it counts. These drivers out here just having fun tonight.
Taking a look at the 72's front end, I'm seeing a little bit of almost like a line in the body. I don't know if it's actually been damaged or if that's just a little bit of a panel knocked loose.
I'm not too sure either, but I don't necessarily think it'll affect his race car. But then
I would
again,
appreciate if Victor Santos could let off the gas a little bit so I can get a better look at that 72. But as we see, it looks like there's a taker on pit road. That'd be Josh Gardner.
I think he's coming in for some fresh tires here. With under 20 laps to go, if those fresh tires work and he can ride the high lane, he might be able to just pass all these cars or these positions he's going to lose here and get back up into the top 5.
I mean, I definitely don't blame him. Like, he tried his best trying to hold them all off, but right now I think he's seen the writing on the wall and said, hey, all these other guys have fresh tires. It worked for them. How about me?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to get this restart, I believe, with about 15 laps to go, roughly.
Now, it's worth noting. Technically, right now, Charles Teed is on the oldest tires in the field, currently at 25 laps old. The rest of the field, from Maletska all the way back to 11th place of Todd Schneider, they're currently on 13, 14 lap old tires. So right now, really, Gardner might have a good advantage when it gets down to about 110, 115. So it might be onto something here.
And look who's made his way back into the top 10. That's Nick DeGroot back here in 8th place. I guess he did use his faster pair here. And we'll see now when they get going on this restart just exactly how fast he's going to go to try to get through the field here. But now, Matthew, I want to ask you this question. Are you tempted to put the commentator's curse on somebody else and give me who you think's going to make it in these last 20 laps?
He might hate me for it if he wrecks, but I really think Teed has a chance here. I mean, this is the closest, at least he's been, in striking distance to possibly getting a victory once more this season. So I wouldn't be surprised if he maybe tries some games here, or at least try something different to see if he can get a jump on Milecka. Because like I said, the driver said that clean air seems like almost everything to them.
Yeah, I'm actually keeping my eye on Victor Santos. He charged through the field on that last run there, and he made his way up to third. Now he's got a fresh start here, a fresh restart to stay right with these leaders here and give him what he's got here. So I'm keeping my eye on Victor Santos. I feel like he could possibly pull this out of his hat.
Another guy I want to give a shout out to is just Heison. We haven't seen him the last few weeks, but he's definitely come back strong here. Strong 6th place run here. He definitely has a chance to possibly getting a good top 5. Honestly, plays cars right, and possibly 2 commentators' curses working out. I mean, he could easily walk away with a top 3 or a win.
Yeah, that is if the commentator's curse holds true. We're gonna
As we
have
get
to
ready
wait
to
and see.
restart.
Yep, pace car lights are off. We're getting ready for the restart. We'll see Robert does what he usually does, and that's bring him down a little slow. We're up 54, 55 miles per hour, and he's going to nail the gas when he gets on the straightaway here. There he goes. He's going away, and it looks like he's got a decent restart, but second place is not letting him go that far.
One guy I want to point out there, we're looking from the back camera of Milecka. You saw the 24 of Santos. He was definitely looking, peeking, seeing if he can get T to go early with him, trying to anticipate that restart. Unfortunately, just didn't work for him. Right now, the field is pretty well spread out.
That could be good for this final run here with it not being up there, but we see how the draft plays in our count here. As you see even on the front straightaway, here comes Teed with a good run. Now the problem is going to be passing him, and here comes Santos to the outside.
Right now, I'm seeing Teed. Teed wants to try something different because he knows he won't pass Milecka right in that lane. Runs
in the grass.
All the way down to the grass. Oh, he turned him.
He did not appreciate that.
Oh, he's right behind.
Big wreck. He did not. He did not appreciate getting blocked to the inside like that.
What's the old saying? Block me once, shame on you. Block me twice, shame on me.
Yeah, block me 3 times, you're going in the wall.
You're going in the fence.
Yep.
So that's definitely an unfortunate outcome. Let's go ahead and take a look from Victor Santos' onboard here. Let's just see what happened. Right there, you see Teed. Teed starts running him down the inside. Yeah, Teed runs him all the way down to the grass. He's on the apron. Just came up and doored him. That's unfortunate. Definitely looks, I'm going to say right now, Santos has a little bit of damage on that right front wing. And man, these commentator curses, God, we got to stop this.
It wasn't even just him. He also, the guy we were talking about trying to benefit from it got wrecked too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, looking from behind.
Heison got involved in it as well.
Heison almost looks like he got taken out in a separate incident.
Yeah, I think it was. It was when everyone backing off because they saw the wreck and he just got ran into from behind, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Benjamin Combs just got in the back of him, and man, isn't that a welcome back for Heison?
Yeah, not at all.
Although I think Heison might still have 1 fast repair left. I'm not quite sure about that. But man, definitely unfortunate. And I think Nick DeGroot also may have caught a little bit of that with his front end.
Looking back from Robert Milecka's car, I don't see too much damage on that machine, to be honest, on second place.
I think DeGroot might have gotten a little bit of damage in the front end. I'm not quite sure. It crumpled just for a minute. But for Santos, definitely the left or the right front wing, I think, is just a little bit crinkled from the onboard view here. Go ahead and take a look at Milecka's rear view here.
Hey, yeah, Nick DeGroot up here in the 5th position now. He's gonna have to wait and see.
You're looking at the onboard of the group.
Oh yeah, that might very well be some damage for Nick in the front nose, but I guess we'll have to wait and see on the restart. He's holding his steering wheel a little lopsided here to try to go straight, so we'll have to wait and see if that's really going to affect him or not.
I mean, it's all fun and games. I mean, as long as the car keeps, at least going in the right direction, I mean, I guess you got to try.
Yeah, and this is going to be interesting. We're going to get a restart in this race under 10 laps to go. So this could be all Robert Milecka's race here, unless second place, Victor Santos is still able to be up to speed and get a good restart.
Definitely the big question. I'm going to tell you the one guy who's loving all of that and kind of loved that whole series of events has to be Robert Milecka. I mean, obviously, he checked out. He wanted to get out of there, but obviously to see his at least 2 or 3 biggest competitors having issues, that'll put a smile on your face a little bit. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
I guess it's time
absolutely.
to lay the commentators'
It
curse
definitely
on
would.
someone else now. The one guy I'm looking here that I really like has to be Moskowitz. It's also worth noting.
Yeah,
that
he's kept his car clean, so he's just benefiting from all these accidents happening. He's definitely getting up there.
Yeah, and definitely worth noting, the guy who I think might benefit from this the most has to be Josh Gardner. I mean, he took 4 fresh tires and fuel. I mean, I think he might be in a really good position here.
Yeah, he might be. We're actually going to get a restart with 9 laps to go. That might be enough for him to be able to drive through these cars.
Definitely. I mean, it's a big question, but that could be a gamble, but at least maybe nets him a top 5 at the very least.
So it's going to be interesting to see on this restart if drivers like Victor Santos and Nick DeGroot are up to speed here. Because if not, we could see Eric Schaus and Dylan Moskowitz actually get around him and try to battle for the lead here in these final closing laps.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely going to be the big question. I mean, I'm looking for the back window cam here, at least the back wing cam, and I'm curious in how many people are really going to try and anticipate this restart. We saw Victor Santos there in that last restart. He was kind of poking behind Teed to see if he can jump it. I'm really curious if Victor can stay with Robert, even with that front wing damage.
Yep,
I mean, he's getting right up there. He's getting right up there.
He's right on his back bumper now. He's got to try to time it right. He's going now, and it's always hard to time it when you're in a single file line because you never know when the leader's going to nail the gas here. Now the question is, if he's up to speed, how long is it going to take him to reel him in?
I mean, we saw, at least in that previous run, that it took about a lap and a half for these drivers to really start training and working their way up to Robert. So I'm really curious here. We see Moskowitz, tried to send it on the inside of Schaus, but unfortunately, Schaus shut the door. And looks like 3 wide, DeGroot on the high side.
Yep, the outside lane going to come into play once again. Here comes DeGroot. He's going to run the outside. He's going to probably get a good enough run.
DeGroot's in the wall. And that's the thing. DeGroot's playing that dangerous game, but he's not going to give up very easily. Right now, Moskowitz looks like he's going to make a charge on the outside. Made it stick.
Meanwhile, Robert's just pulled away. He is loving this racing in his mirror right now.
Hey, Robert Milecka. Looks like Hobson might have gotten a little bit of damage there. Got knocked into the fence in one of the corners. But look at Moskowitz. Moskowitz and DeGroot are battling for third now. Right now, Victor's really trying, but I think that front wing damage is hurting him. But right now, we really have, I'm saying a lot of these guys probably are hoping for a caution here just to try and get another restart so we can make a run at Robert.
Yeah, that's what they're hoping for. Battling back there for the 4th position. These cars are just all over the place as Dylan Moskowitz has now moved into the 2nd position now.
Look, there's 3 damaged cars here. I mean, you got Schaus, you got Hobson, then you also got DeGroot, and all 3 of them's either been in a wreck or a wall.
Yeah, and Nick DeGroot just tried a little too hard and ruined his what could have been an easily top 3 spot when he hit the wall in the outside lane. As we are 5 laps to go, coming to 4 laps to go, and our leader
Brooks
is just pulling away.
Making the pass on Santos there. Again, it might be a little bit too little, too late. Moskowitz right now is currently trying to track down Milecka, but unfortunately, right now it's about 2 seconds of gap. I'm not sure if he's going to have enough time to make it. Santos is still under fire. Right now, he's coming under fire from Hobson. Looks like Gardner behind. Wow, Santos blocked Hobson all the way down to the apron, but left Gardner undefended.
Yeah, and you can only block one person at a time here. I think that was Hobson just clipped the wall a little bit there.
Gardner could be someone to look out for now. Right now, he's got fresher tires than anyone in this field, so that's going to be the big question, see how far he can push it.
Our leader's pulling away. Actually, he's losing spot. He was 2.6 seconds, now down to 2.0. As he comes off of the corner, he's going to see 2 laps to go. Let's see what the gap is now when he crosses the start-finish line here. Down another 0.2 of a second. I don't think it's going to be enough unless Robert makes a big mistake in these last couple laps.
Yeah, looks like Gale and Gardner are coming, but it just looks like they won't reach it in time. Right now, it's Robert's race to lose here.
Robert Malkovich is coming out of the corner, takes the white flag. This is the last lap, 1 lap to go here at Worldwide Technology Raceway.
Definitely looking here. This will definitely put a highlight on Maleska's season. Right now, it's undeniable that he is the front runner for this championship, and he constantly proves it week in and week out. Robert Maleska will come down and collect the win at Worldwide Technology.
I believe that's back-to-back, right? He won last. Didn't he win last week at Circuit of the Americas?
That is correct. And Gardner pulls on an amazing recovery of 4th. Gail Brook and Moskowitz pull 2nd and 3rd.
Fireworks go off in the turns here. We have our race winner, Robert Malechka, just pulls off an incredible dominating feat today.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that really he was one of the fastest guys in the field, and definitely he was aided by that last few cautions, and really he played the smart game. I mean, his competitors were battling. He said, all right, I don't want to be a part of this, and he got out of there.
Burnouts on the front straightaway here. I believe these are teammates.
I think Moskowitz may have a little bit less power in that car. At least a little bit less grip.
Yeah. Oh, some burnouts as he slaps it against the inside wall. Out there goes the back wing.
Post-race inspection will be interesting.
Right.
Alrighty.
Top 5 rundown. You got Robert Malechka in first place. Dylan Maskowitz in second. Gail Brooks third. Josh Gardner, as you said, a great run for 4th. AJ Hobson 5th. Charles Teed 6th. Victor Santos back to 7th. Eric Schaus to 8th. Benjamin Combs 9th. And Nick DeGroot rounds out the race in the 10th position.
Yeah, definitely going through the rest of the results. I will say definitely a hard night for some of these guys, at least in particular Van de Sant. He's going to be at least a hard hit, not as hard of a hit as some of the other drivers in this field. Kobe Moore, also one of those guys I'd be looking at. Harry Corley, another one of those guys I'd be looking at take a points hit as well. Most importantly, I'd say Matt Wagner finishing in the 23rd position. That's definitely going to cost him a lot. He's most likely going to lose 2nd place points. Eric Peterson's another one of those guys that I'm kind of concerned about. Forsyth, Manook. I mean, those guys I'm very concerned about.
Yeah, absolutely. A very tough break for them. It's just, stuff happens, especially short track racing here. A lot of times it's just out of your control. There's just really nothing you can do. Just hope that you have a good race, and let's hope they can move on to next week and get a better finish to kind of gain all those points back. Absolutely.
As we're going to set up for post-race interviews here. Obviously, we've got our top 3, Gail Brooks, Moskowitz, and the guy we've thankfully been talking to all race and kind of getting a little bit of insight here. We've got Robert Malechka the 3rd.
Well, we'll start with our 3rd place finisher, Gail Brooks. Hey, Gail, it's Michael and Matthew up here in the commentator's booth. You got us?
I do. How you guys doing tonight?
Well, we're doing all right, man. If we come home in 3rd place, that was a heck of a battle. Those final 10 laps there. Tell us about it, man. How was your car all night?
It was good. I actually qualified well for once in my career over here with these guys. I made the wrong pit strategy, I guess, early when I decided to try tires, and they did not go for that. So what I wound up doing afterwards was like, okay, just try to work my way back up there. But we had that kind of the accordion restart, and unfortunately, I think that's where Kobe got into the back of me. So kind of apologize for him for that. But otherwise, I felt good. I was hoping for that long run. I feel like that's where I really had something for these guys. They were way faster than I was on the short run. And then it just does say, unfortunately, got caught up in that second to last incident. And then from there, I was able to use the tire strategy to have a little bit fresher than some of those guys when they got pretty dicey up front. And yeah, just was able to make the right moves at the right time and sneak around a couple of them.
So, Gail, I mean, I got to ask, I mean, amazing run. Where in the world did you even come from? I mean, you've kind of just been silent sneaking your way through this entire race, and then out of nowhere, you just kind of magically appear.
I kind of have a habit of trying to let the race come to me and just take things easy and then go after it as this race goes on. Like Motegi, I actually had a really good run. Same thing. I was kind of in the back and I worked my way up steadily. But yeah, tonight I qualified decently, but at that first caution, I thought for sure more people are going to pit, and then I was pretty much in the teens, 20s the rest of that point. So at that point, it's just kind of survival to try to put myself in contention at the right place, right time. So I saved that fast repair. Luckily for that last caution as well.
Yeah, man, it was a heck of a night. Great rebound, finished third place. We're gonna turn the mic over to you and thank anybody you need to.
Yeah, I mean, I got to thank Matt Wagner. He unfortunately did not have the night he was looking for, but he hung around. He gave me some tips and tricks, and it was definitely a positive ear during that last stint as well, kind of giving me suggestions of what to do, where to go. So really got to thank him. Of course, all my teammates with Speedy Snails Racing. So yeah, a lot of fun to put this on. So it's fun to do this side of the things as well. Get to do these races and be able to actually jump on board and be able to chat with you guys and say nice to finally have that good result. And yeah, so you got to thank my daughter for picking this very bright colored and white paint scheme. She loves donuts, she loves ice cream, and it's pink, so it was pretty much a guaranteed selection for her to run this one.
Well, you may have looked like the highlighter, but you definitely avoided all the wrecks.
Yeah, it worked out well. So yeah, but no, and also I got to thank you guys. I mean, you guys put on an awesome broadcast. Definitely looking forward to this one. I hope to learn a little bit as well for my own sake as well. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys doing it. Of course, Charles Teed and all the admins with Dark Horse for letting me be a part of this as well. And last but not least, got to thank my dad. He's the one that conned me to get over here, and I've been having a lot of fun with him.
All right, man, and good luck next week, and hopefully we get to talk to you again right up here next week.
I'm hoping for it. That'll mean I did well. So yeah, I hope so. And thanks again for everything you guys do.
That was third place finisher Gail Brooks. Now, going to go ahead and get our second place finisher. If I can find him here. Here he is. Second place finisher, Dylan Moskowitz. Hey, Dylan, it's Mike and Matthew up here in the booth. You got us?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, a great run finishing second place. You had a good late race charge, and it seemed like if you had about maybe 5 to 10 more laps, you would have caught the race leader, man. How was your car that last run?
First, Robert and I are teammates. He was zigzagging. We were so excited I wouldn't have passed him. But the car was good. It was a fun race, honestly. The setup was interesting because you wanted to set up passes for the outside if you could for one, and so you kind of had to get to the outside, and it was just not the easiest thing to do always. Some people would lift a little earlier for one, and you'd possibly hit them. So it kind of was iffy, and then just had to make it through the wrecks. And by the end, I think 3 of the top 5 were damaged. So I got around and made it work, but it was a fun race. It was just survival.
I mean, Dylan, I know you said it, it's a victory because it's a team victory, but I mean, your second place, or best finish of the season. I mean, how much does it hurt? I mean, just being that close and, hey, it could have been me who won the race.
I'm not too upset about it, honestly, because Robert's really darn good, but I just didn't think I had the pace for the lead. I ran, I think, 4th. The best was I got all race until the very end. So I was pretty excited for second. It's the best finish I've gotten in the league here. So I just didn't think I'd pace on Robert, and he was kind of zigzagging the last few laps. We were having fun. It's not the radio, so it was a good race though. I don't really know how I got second. I think it was just the fact that 3 of those cars were damaged. So.
All right, man, and it was a great run in the back there. I still think you might have at least been able to catch him if you had a couple more laps there. But we're going to go ahead and turn the mic over to you and go ahead and thank anybody, any sponsors you need to.
Just the team, really. I mean, we had a good time. It's a shame Jeff got wrecked out at the end. Otherwise, we really felt like we could get 1, 2, 3 by the end of it. We were talking about that afterwards because Jeff had pace. Just unfortunately lost his fast repairs. So Like to shout out the team. Bucky's my sponsor, and yeah, just appreciate you guys for putting up a great broadcast. We'll watch it later. So.
Well, thank you very much for speaking with us, Dylan. Again, I really hope to see you on the podium again here this season. Hopefully, we'll be talking to you as the winner.
Appreciate it, guys. We'll try, but man, we'll need Robert.
I just give him the blitz.
Pretty much. Y'all take care. Have a good one.
We're going to go ahead and bring in our race winner, someone we've talked to pretty much all night long, Robert. Hey, Robert, it's Mike and Matthew up in the booth again. You got us?
Yeah, I got you, boys.
Man, a dominating performance tonight in victory lane 2 weeks in a row. How are you feeling right now, man?
I'm glad that one's over. Man, it was those last 50 or so laps. Everyone was going all out, and it was some really close, tight racing. And yeah, I'm thankful that one's over.
So I've got to ask. I mean, where are you stashing these lucky pennies? These 4-leaf clovers. I mean, how in the world are you getting so lucky to avoid a lot of these accidents and these incidents?
Man, I don't know. Like it's I'm gonna have some bad luck soon, and I just gotta keep capitalizing on having good luck here, having these good runs, because my time's gonna come where I have a DNF or two, and those guys are gonna gain ground on me in the points. Like,
I mean, speaking of which, I mean, how much does this? I mean, I'm not sure how much this pads your lead here at the moment, but I mean, is there any tracks that are coming up here ahead, but you're really worried about?
Let's see. Actually, I have the schedule up right now. Silverstone and Milwaukee. Those are the big two. I dislike Milwaukee a ton. I hate that track, to be frank with you. So those I know, and at Worldwide Technology here, I thought I was going to struggle a little bit, but thought I still had a chance to run top three, maybe get a win. But I know Milwaukee I'm not going to run great there at all. If I get a top 5 there, I'll be extremely pleased.
All right, man. Well, it's definitely been fun talking to you all race long. You're sitting in victory lane here. Going to open up the mic to you now and for you to thank anybody you want to.
Yeah, great runs for our team, Jeff and Dylan. Dylan was P2 there. Jeff was right up front with us all race. It's unfortunate what happened, but I know he'll get a good run, good result here soon. So yeah, we'll see if we can keep it going into Vegas next week.
All right, man. Well, congratulations, and we'll see if we'll be talking to you next week.
Yep. Thanks, boys. Have a good one.
Hey, and that was Robert Malechka, our first place winner. Well, Matt, another Dark Horse IndyCar race in the books, under the lights here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. And what are your final thoughts?
I mean, I'm looking here, and this race is pretty much everything we advertised it to be. I mean, it was chaos. It was high speed. I mean, definitely no lone lack of action. Now, the big question is, I mean, hey, we've had basically last 3 races. We went to basically almost a flat oval at Motegi, where it had banking, don't get me wrong, but not high banks. We went to Coda, which Coda's a road course, no high banks there. And then we go over to Gateway, and Gateway, well, no high banks here, but next week we've got Vegas. And, as much as I love Vegas, I'm not sure how some of these drivers are going to cope with the transition back to banks. And again, usually when we get these Indy cars on banks, it's high speed, high action, a lot of passing, and a lot of 3 wide. And for some of these guys who are really trying to claw their way back up in points, that's the races I'd be very concerned about of, hey, I could easily make or break it here.
Yeah, absolutely. And, well, tonight's been a really fun night for my first time calling an IndyCar race. It definitely did not disappoint. I'll tell you that much for sure. Well, for Matthew Rodriguez here in FRN, we'd like to thank you guys for tuning in and watching tonight. I believe our next FRN broadcast is
should be tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night. I think it's the Tally Challenge for.
Actually, we've got 2 tomorrow night. We've actually got the Kozar Pro Truck Off-Road Series, and then we've also got the Talladega Challenge. And I know the Talladega Challenge is about to go into their playoffs here, so that's definitely going to be can't miss action because there's so many people on the outside looking in. I don't know.
Yeah, and that it's always fun to watch those drivers race around 3 wide like that at Talladega. Well, from Michael Norman and Matthew Rodriguez, we say thank you guys, good night, and we'll see you guys next broadcast.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's